Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on Transformers 1. Now, as you know, Transformers 1 was a 2024 science fiction action film, which of course was the first animated Transformers movie in quite a long time after Transformers the movie to hit in cinema. And I think after sitting down to watch it, after seeing how a lot of people were hoping for a sequel, seeing how the film kind of gave away so many spoilers, the best I can say about it is that it's a film that feels like it should have been more aimed as a TV show than an actual film. So, the premise of the film is meant to begin on Cybertron, where under the rule of Sentinel Prime, we see how the residents of Cybertron work as miners and trying to kind of harvest energon and trying to get by. We do kind of see how Orion Pax, who is meant to be this cogless miner, does what he can to kind of give people hope and does try to kind of help those who need it. And we kind of see how after a sort of incident with the whole Iacon race thing, we see how Orion and D16 end up kind of getting roped in with Bumblebee and Elita 1, and over the course of the film, we see how they slowly learn about Sentinel Prime's true nature, as well as what really happened. And this is where we see Orion Pax and D16 going from friends to eventual sworn enemies. I think the film has these good ideas, like having it down below on Cybertron, having this sort of majestic city, kind of seeing how there's some who aren't cogless miners, those who are basically referred to as miners. But I kind of see where they're going with Orion Pax and D16, showing them to be these former friends, but we kind of see how they act upon their actions and choices. Orion is meant to be a little more trying to be this symbol of hope, always trying to look on the bright side of things. Well, D16 is more guided by the books, but slowly you can kind of get this sense, there's a sense of anger, annoyance, and eventual turn to the dark side, and you see how both their paths are completely different. I think what the film is trying to do is quickly throw in whatever it can, trying to build up characters that we already know about. The problem is, we've already seen this version of Sentinel Prime before in Transformers Animated, where he was meant to be a bit of a toxic friend, a bit of this kind of bot who will eventually take over the kind of position of Ultra Madness that we did see in Transformers Animated. The problem is, I think the problem is, as well, is that if the film had been a TV show, we could have probably have seen a bit more time building up Orion Pax and D16, showing them to try and do what they think is right. The problem with the movie is, with an hour and 4 minutes, it is trying to do whatever it can to build up the story. I kind of give it credit is that it is trying to do something with the characters, like obviously having Starscream and some of the Seekers being these kind of high gods when the Primes were in charge, mostly Soundwave and Shockwave. I give them credit is that they are trying to tell a simple story and trying to throw in characters as backgrounds or just there to kind of give minor roles, mostly Jazz, Ironhide, as well as RC and so forth. But I always feel like if there was a Transformers movie done right, or kind of like this whole TV show, I would always imagine Optimus Prime being kind of voiced by Nick Offerman. I would love to see Vin Diesel voice Megatron, because I think their voices would actually fit what the characters need to be. I always kind of feel like, to me, having the Decepticons build up to be this whole liberation front at the end seems like there was going to be plans to build up the iconic war between Autobots and Decepticons. But I always kind of feel like if there was a Transformers movie done right, I would love to see the idea of the Decepticons being these nationalists, the whole nation front, these far right kind of robots who want to believe that they can have this just and fair Cybertron, where basically Seekers are allowed to be in control, where kind of like these scientists can be free to do whatever they want, and having Megatron bring out the worst in these Decepticons, and that would be an interesting idea. I feel like, to me at least, Transformers 1 is trying to tell another story, but I think after so many Michael Bay films, and also Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast trying to build up stuff that just wasn't gonna happen, I think it's clear Paramount just saw this as another product to get done and quickly finished. I think the problem is, I can also see why Paramount just saw it as another project just being done. Because, one, if something you feel isn't going to be profitable enough, and if it's not going to be what you think might not always work, sometimes discarding it, kind of throwing in whatever trailers you can, just shows that some studios and companies won't see something too profitable. I feel like Transformers 1 is telling another run-in-the-mill storyline, trying to tell another story, but of course, should have been a TV show. It should have done more time to build things up, instead of quickly rushing everything too quickly. So I think this one definitely deserves two thumbs in the middles. Kind of alright, kind of okay, just telling another run-of-the-mill storyline that is just there to kind of cater to more G1 fans, but telling a new storyline. So, Comic Book Reviewer here, signing out.